signing on. And it's April 7th, 2020, Prudential Committee meeting being held remotely, 6 p.m. Could I have I'm going to call the roll. Lisa Mycock,
Lisa Mycock Kelly, Prudential.
Silvio,
Janelle, Prudential.
Charlie,
Charles Eager, Court.
thank you. Fran Parks, Prudential. We also have Ken Malloy, the moderator, and Mark Boudreau, the town council, and Ray Perron will be joining us shortly. Is anyone recording the meeting?
Hey, Ray.
No one's recording the meeting. Okay. I have a flag, so we can say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I think I'm with you now, Fran.
There he is.
You're here, Ray.
Can I say
I listen.
to
United
States of America,
America.
to the republic for which it stands,
Stands.
one nation,
Under God.
under God, indivisible, with liberty and
And
justice.
justice for all.
for all.
Thank you. Okay. As talking to the state to clarify our
You look like you're frozen a little bit, Fran.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very laggy.
I'm sorry.
You were
Can you hear
frozen
me?
on us. For a
Okay,
little-
can you hear me?
Now,
Very, yes.
Okay. What in terms of clarifying our position and when we can have our district meeting and actions?
Uh-oh.
yeah.
Your signal's a little bit off, Fran. We get you for a little bit and then you freeze up on us.
Yeah.
Everything's plugged in. So, can you hear me now?
Yes.
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 Okay. Mark, can you describe what you've been investigating for us in terms of the district meeting?
Sure. I have been working with quite a number of other attorneys, with Charlie, who's been very good, with Representative Randy Hunt, in an attempt to have the districts join with the towns and the cities to allow a continuance of our annual meeting. As you know, our bylaws call for an annual meeting to be the fourth Wednesday in May, and that's only 23 days after the current shutdown by our governor. And I'm hazarding a guess that it may be extended, but either way, there's not enough personnel and time to even put the warrant together. So initially, the legislation that was put through by Representative Hunt was, for whatever reason, altered, and it left off districts. It has since been modified, and the power is put into the hands of our moderator to extend. And that is a modification of Chapter 39, Section 10A. And it allows our moderator to do it at a meeting or outside of a meeting. And there's a protocol to how everyone gets notified, and including what happens after the public gets notified, and places a lot of responsibilities on Ken.
Well, Mark,
Yes.
the way I was reading things is that the Prudential Committee has got to issue the warrant with a date first. Then I can extend, but I can't extend anything that hasn't been officially put in the public's hands.
I have discussed that with Chuck Sabat, and our general feeling is that in these circumstances where you really can't get a warrant together, that would be excused. And the idea would be that we do extend it without having a warrant. It's a little bit of a chicken and the egg, but we don't have the ability right now, I don't believe, correct me if I'm wrong, to properly get a warrant together.
I believe, aren't there some moderators that have already, across the state, already, taken the extension, and they don't have,
Yes, there are, and the legislation specifically was allowed to apply to those as well.
right?
It doesn't seem, how can you extend something that hasn't been documented in the first place?
Because it's an emergency situation, isn't that what?
Emergency situation.
Okay.
Excuse me, is the fact that it's stated in the bylaws, I mean, it's in the bylaws, so it exists on an annual basis.
Okay.
Right. We already have a time frame, and typically that's what we work back from in terms of our election and in terms of the warrant. So I think the number of days necessary to get the warrant in will be commensurate with our new date. And I think, Fran, you had talked about a date specific, which would be approximately 4 weeks. I believe it's the 24th of June. Is that still your thinking?
Well, yes, that's what I was thinking, because I don't think that we can depend upon, being allowed to have a meeting after May 4th. And I'm not sure in terms of nomination papers, if people have been able to get those into the town clerk. I got one set of nomination papers in for a nominee prior to all of this happening. But right now, the procedure at the town clerk's office is that you put nomination, they have a box that you can put various requests in at town hall, and you can put the nomination papers in there. So if we change it to June 24th, Charlie, you'd have to check me up on this, but even doing that, my calculations going backward, the nomination papers to the town clerk would have to be there by May 6th. And May 20th, they'd have to be to Charlie. The annual district meeting would close, warrant would close on the 22nd of May. And the elections would be June 23rd, and the meeting would be June 24th. So I think, I need to know what you think about, deciding to do it in June or waiting to see, what the governor decides to do. Any thoughts?
I guess my concern would be if we extend to June now, then if we need to extend further, we just extend further, correct?
Yes. The moderator would have that authority to extend more than one time.
Mark, would the districts be able to extend past June 30th?
They would be able to extend past June 30th, certainly if the emergency was extended.
Okay, because I was reading, the bulletin,
Yes.
02/2020, and it seemed to say that towns had the right to do that, but I didn't see anywhere where it said districts did. It did allow districts to continue the meeting under 3910A, is it? I forget.
Yeah, it is 3910A, and it does seem like the combination of the chapter 3910A and this bulletin would allow a lot of latitude to go beyond. And I believe that the intention was to make the two legislations applicable to cities, towns, and to districts, so we wouldn't have any sort of an issue. One of the things that Representative Hunt said was that there was quite a bit of discussion about allowing good faith efforts to withstand any sort of scrutiny. So I think the idea is we're all going to read and interpret the various statutes that we have, do our best, and go forward. There's so many questions to be answered if everything ends on, the governor's order ends on May 5th or 4th or 6th or 30th, people are not just going to go running out into the streets. There's going to be a ton of people that are not going to want to be with large groups. And a lot of people do not have the ability to go on Zoom. And with the problem Zoom has had, we don't know if we're going to be able to continue. Some of the meetings worldwide have been compromised. So there's a lot of balls in the air. And I think we just, as a group, we do our best. Foreseeably, I think the end of June seems like a good time. The weather will be warmer. The virus hopefully will have calmed down. The spike that they've talked about, the whole leveling of that, hopefully will have taken place. So looking at it from the lens of April 7th, I think extending it to June 24th and moving all of the elections along commensurate is appropriate.
Now, the other question is the return of nomination papers. I know all the state, all the reps and going for state office had to have them in by April 28th or something like that. That was not changed by any law. Would that hold true for us?
I think the answer is we don't 100% know. We had a governor attempt to put off a presidential election, and the state court of Tennessee overruled. So I think there's a lot of questions going forward. Fran, do we have an idea of how many papers we might anticipate to see whether or not this is actually an issue that we may have to confront?
I don't know. Jennifer, can you answer that?
I'm here.
Yeah, have you had any papers returned, or how many nomination papers have you given out?
I've given out one set for the Board of Water Commissioners, 2, possibly 3 for fire, and 1, possibly 2 for Prudential.
Have any of those been returned?
Nothing yet. I did hear from 2 people that they were able to get them certified at the town. One of them gave them a return envelope stamped, directed to me so that it will be mailed right back to me, but nothing has come in yet.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I would think that, sorry,
Go
Fran.
ahead.
The logistics of just being able to secure signatures is just, how do you do that?
You put it on the counter at the coop.
Right, well, in a plastic bag with, but I just think that's a real issue for people.
Yeah.
I think that's why the sensible thing is what we're doing, extending it as close to the end of a fiscal year as possible to give people as much time as we can physically think we can give them, and then going from there. If we need to extend it to the next fiscal year, then we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I think you're doing the right thing by extending it all the way to the 24th, is what you said, to give time for all these logistical issues to be resolved, and hopefully we get more guidance in the meantime.
Yeah.
We're going to extend the date of the nomination papers when they have to be returned. We'll extend that date.
They had to be into the town clerk by April 9th,
April 5th, I believe.
or 5th.
We're going to extend that then, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a question if you can extend it. Because you could not extend it for state offices, but they could move elections, but they could not extend the time the nomination papers had to be filed.
Were those
That's
special?
what I was asking Mark.
We
Were
just
those-
said how difficult it is to get these things signed and approved, so we have to extend it. Makes sense.
So,
Well, I mean, I can't tell you, I don't know if Mark can either.
Well, I called the election office at the Attorney General's office in Boston, and they were very polite, but they basically said, well, you're the council, figure it out. And in addition, they said, if you need some help, go ahead and file for an order before the court. So I spoke with Doug Murphy, who is counsel for COM. I spoke with Chuck Sabat, who is counsel for Barnstable and West Barnstable. And I spoke with my brother, who's counsel for Sandwich Water District. And every one of them laughed and responded, well, what court would you go to? Who would you notify? What sort of authority do we have in overturning state law by having a district go to, let's say, the Superior Court? So I don't think that that is a remedy that we have, and it very well could be that the final determination is that unless the law changes, we may have to refuse paperwork that is turned in after the latest date that it can be sent in.
Well, our bylaws,
It's certainly not ideal. The one thing that our bylaws do help us with indicates that all of the offices will serve until the successors are chosen and duly qualified. So I think that whether you folks like it or not, you may be working into the next fiscal year.
well, as far as the nomination papers, our bylaws say that nomination papers must be filed with the district clerk not later than 35 days prior to the election.
Right. And I
We
think the
move
election,
we move the date they have to file the papers.
correct, but
It
I
also
think
has
our
to be
election is tied into, the election is tied into our annual meeting, as Charlie pointed out, and I think he's correct that we can bootstrap those deadlines into our 30-day extension or 28-day extension, whatever it happens to be. Was that, am I interpreting what you had said correctly, Charlie?
Yeah, because when I talked to the Secretary of State, just before you did, Mark, they told us that we're not subject to the election laws, and therefore absentee ballots are illegal.
Interesting. Something for the bylaws committee to take up next year.
We're talking about nomination papers, and we have the bylaws are very specific. Nomination papers must be filed with the town clerk not later than 50 days prior to the date set for the election, and must be filed with the district clerk not later than 35 days prior to the election. So we set the election, we just back up, and that's what the nominations are due.
Well, but if you take a look at Article 2, our district meetings and elections are taken care of under the same section. And I think that we can properly extend those dates if we are extending our annual meeting. It just makes sense.
Yeah, and we extend the nomination paper dates too.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Well, what about where the state government can, or cities, I should say towns, can extend their elections? Did they have to have their nomination papers in as originally planned?
I guess I'm not making myself clear. I'll go slowly. I'm reading from the bylaws.
Well, I know what the bylaws say, Ken, but what I'm saying is you have to look to see what, what the state allows us.
And I thought you said the state allowed us to do our own thing depending on our bylaws.
Yeah, right.
Now, the bylaws are changed by 39A itself, because the bylaws say we have to have it in May.
Yeah, right. So basically, state law supersedes our bylaws, I believe.
Well, we're a creature of the state, so they do.
So,
So I don't know if you're going to get a pure black and white answer to your question, but I think that we can't go wrong if we extend the date to have our nomination papers extended commensurate with the same period of delay for our annual meeting.
Very good, very good. That's what I'm looking for.
Well, the other question is, for the people who got them in on time, are you punishing them? That was the question, are you?
Potentially, but I don't know if there's a clear answer under the law right now.
So, I don't know.
So do we know what Hyannis or COMM are going to do about nomination papers?
I do not.
Okay.
No, that was getting our annual meeting extended and dealing with how finances are dealt with was our major priority.
So I should think if everybody did it, then, extended the nomination time, then would be, a group effort better rather than an outlier, to it being an outlier. But I don't think.
I would agree, and I can check on that.
And I know Ray has a meeting coming up to discuss the same issues
Exactly.
in West Barnstable.
We're going to ask what we did here.
Right, of course.
Well, tell
I
them to
understand.
extend.
At least we can get two in line.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so
So we still don't know, we still can't tell people when the nomination papers are due?
Well, I'm suggesting that we make a decision about that and not leave it up in the air. And my thought would be to extend them and let the chips fall where they may, because I don't think there's a black and white answer to that question.
All right. And that would be commensurate with our bylaws, so that would be good.
Mhm.
so we can, the calculations I came up with, Charlie might want to check if this is correct, was that the annual nomination papers would be due to the town clerk by May 6th. And will be back due to Charlie by May 20th.
Okay, 23 and 27, 30, what is it? 23 days in June, 27, and what is May 4th?
Oh, I think it's a Monday. Hang on.
May 4th is a Monday.
I think May 4th would be the day. That would be 50 days.
50 days.
Because we'd have 23 in June and 27 into,
And when is 35 days?
35 days would be, okay, we got 23. I mean, the first one would be May 4th, which is to the town clerk for certification.
May 18th, wouldn't it?
Yeah, May 18th.
Is that, for the,
For
yeah,
getting the papers back to you. Okay. So, does anybody want to make a motion that we advise it? Are we going to advise the moderator or give the moderator well, just a motion?
You can
Motion.
request the moderator to.
Hmm?
You can request that the moderator under Chapter 39, Section 10A, extend the annual meeting to a date certain.
So can we have a motion to request that the moderator move forward the annual meeting under Chapter 39, 10A as necessary, and that the nomination papers due to the town clerk will be moved to May 4th, 2020, and the papers will be due back to the Katuitt Fire District Clerk May 18th, 2020.
And you can specify the date of the annual meeting?
No, I don't think you need to do that at a later date. I don't think we need to do that right now. You're the person, right?
Ken, just so you know, under the statute, we can continue to converse and it wouldn't be considered a deliberation. in terms of you extending the time for the meeting.
Yeah.
And so we can somewhat play it by ear as we go along.
Okay, but I thought somebody threw out a date of June 24th. Is that?
That was a proposal, and again, looking through it from today's date, that seems reasonable. But maybe we wait a little bit to see what's happening in our state and with the coronavirus.
Because we could always change the date again.
Now, with the dates for the nomination papers change.
They would. So I think that the idea would be, it's up to you. We're giving you the authority. You can make the determination to continue it to that date, June 24th, and then follow the other dates that we talked about, or wait and then adjust all of the dates.
Well, why don't we pick June 24th, and we could always change it, but this would at least be in your motion, I have something to.
That's
Well, you're the one who
reasonable
makes-
as of today.
Pardon me?
That's
And
reasonable looking at the world today.
Yeah.
I would agree. Is everyone comfortable with putting it down on the 24th with the idea that we could, or that Ken could change that? It does make sense if we're going to be setting in stone, so to speak, the hard deadlines for the nomination papers.
Yeah, there has to be something out there, I think, for people to rely on at this point in time, obviously, subject to change.
Yeah.
Can you announce your dog coming into the meeting, please?
I'm sorry, I did not introduce.
Hi, Snoopy.
Kidding, Lisa.
That would be Snoopy.
And
So,
Mark, Ken can continue it for 30 days, but it has to be every 30 days.
Right.
Is that right?
He can continue it, but yes, you're right. I think I know what you're saying.
I mean, you can only continue it 30 days at a time.
Correct.
Yeah.
Up to 30 days. It doesn't have to be exactly 30 days.
Right, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. And Ken, feel free to call and discuss as it goes on. You can call me, you can call Fran or any of the people. It's not a violation of an open meeting law for you to be discussing this under these circumstances.
Okay, and how would we publicize this? We publicize this on, like the agendas on the town website?
As we publish things through the bylaw, the statute is pretty specific. If you want to take a look at, if you don't have it, I can send it to you, but it's chapter 39, section 10A. And there's even an extra bit of work for you to do within 10 days of a continued meeting.
The fire chief.
Right, you need a local public safety official designated by the Board of Selectmen or our town council to indicate the reasons why the declaration was made. And that's pretty easy to get, but it's just protocol. So a little bit trickier to get your notices out.
Yep. I've got a copy of 10A, so I can go by that.
Okay.
I think in terms of publicizing it, we can, the Civic Association can blast an email for us. And, it wouldn't hurt to call the town and see if they do it on reverse 911. Make an announcement for us.
So Charlie, are we going to have notices at the post office and all that stuff, Charlie? You think?
Well, I don't have any keys to the post office.
I think it opens.
We can put it on our website. Basically the bylaw said we put it on the website and on the town site.
We can talk about that.
Well, if it looks like these dates are actually going to work and when it's getting closer, I can actually put, some of the signs out with the dates on it. Put those around town, the fire district announcement signs. But I honestly don't think that the announcement board at the post office is that useful. Don't think that many people look at it. I think it's better.
People, yeah. And I don't think people are hanging out in the post office
Yeah.
long enough to
Read.
those things.
And the only thing that MGL says, the 10, chapter 39 or whatever it is, 10A says that it has to be posted. Let's see. Has to be posted, I just saw this, with the municipal clerk as soon as practicable in a manner conspicuously visible to the public at all hours or in the municipal building in which the clerk's office is. But it doesn't say anything else. It says, one copy of the notice declaration of recess and continuance shall be posted at the main entrance of the place, the town meeting as soon as practicable. So I would say at the fire station and at Freedom Hall, at least to start.
Yeah.
And then we can go from there. And that'll meet at least the requirements. And then how we disseminate it to the public in general, we can definitely debate that, whether we do mailers or whatever.
So,
No, we probably should coordinate with the Civic Association. There definitely should be a meeting
Correct.
beforehand so people can discuss the warrant and just like we usually do.
Yeah.
So I think you should talk to the head of the, well, Don Hauser. Be sure he sets aside that date for some date
well,
for a meeting. We can have the candidates talk and we can discuss the warrant.
Jim, do you do a June
This is Jim
meeting?
Danhauser. We'll easily be able to do that when, we'll just, as soon as we get the date set, we'll just reserve the time at the Freedom Hall and we'll get the information out.
Oh, great, yeah.
Yeah.
And Charlie, the annual report will be available, of course. That's no issue.
The reports are ready to go to print.
Oh, great.
I'm just waiting to find out if there was anything else you wanted to put in.
No, my husband's in the meeting.
okay.
Right.
So do we want to make a motion to recommend that to the moderator that he officially postpones the annual meeting for 30 days as he sees fit?
Got you.
Well, you had a motion with dates on it. Are we going back to the original motion or is this a new
Yeah, we
motion?
can go back to the original motion with the dates.
All right.
Do you want me to repeat that motion?
No. I'm just waiting for a so moved so I can second it.
So moved.
Are you gonna put specific days in the are you gonna put specific days in the motion or not?
Yeah, I put them in,
Oh, I
the,
thought 30 days, but that's not 30 days exactly.
No, it's the June 24th and all the other dates that we had talked about previously.
nomination papers,
All right,
May 4th and May 18th.
June 24th.
Yes. So all those in favor, we'll do roll call.
Okay, that's right.
Silvio,
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
Fran, aye. Okay. So the only other thing I wanted to address is, what we should have a meeting to at least start some work on the warrant. I was thinking maybe 2 weeks from Monday. Does that seem reasonable to, Charlie, would that be a good date?
That should be fine with me.
Okay.
April 27th?
Yeah, is that 2 weeks from yesterday?
Oh,
No,
you're 2 weeks from yesterday. No, it'd be the 20th.
that'd be the 20th.
Yep.
So is that a good date for everyone?
Yep.
Fine with me. I'm not running a marathon that day. They canceled it.
You're going to be doing Zoom meetings open to the public?
This meeting is open to the public.
The other Prudential meetings upcoming?
Well, on the 20th, yes,
They have to be.
they have to be.
Time, Fran?
Yes.
What time?
Oh, is this a good time, 6 o'clock or?
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
fine.
so Yes. Lisa?
Yes, that's fine with me. The 20th at 6.
Okay. All right, so any other concerns or comments?
I assume I'm not coming to that meeting unless I'm invited?
We'll let you know.
Perfect.
Thank you for coming this evening and all the work
Thank you,
you've done for us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Mark.
So I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
You have
Are
the
we
minutes,
not having public comment?
you have the minutes too.
Public comment was at the beginning of the meeting.
No miss?
I was muted and I couldn't ask my comment.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. After reviewing the proposed budgets presented at your last meeting, I have a request of your committee. To send the proposed budgets back to their committees and ask them to consider aligning them as if the district had to operate under the same guidelines as the town in regards to Proposition 2.5. Our district employees have good, stable jobs with salaries and benefit packages. In Katuitt, we have a large number of seniors in the population who in 2020 will see their Social Security benefits only increase by 1.6%, along with many citizens who have lost their jobs or have been financially impacted by the COVID-19 situation. We need to band together in times like these and pull back and tighten the district spending. Thank you.
Any response to that? Any other public comment?
Oh,
Nope. Okay. So I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
second,
All in favor? All in favor, Silvio?
aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
Graham Parks? Aye. Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Stay well.
Stay well, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, Snoopy.